That just got announced by Amazon that they were going to be doing, pay now, pay later. And this has already been in a beautiful scoop higher. It has already been called out. Someone wanted to trade this and I looked at it and like, it's actually really nice. So you've got green on the screen. We're kind of coming up to the Bollinger Band and the Keltner. So as is usual, the gap up is typically sold. In other words, anyone who is in those calls, they typically monetize right here because there's a supply of sellers right here. But here's your level, 1864 if we can get back above. So congratulations if you had AFRM on a weekly. Still a gorgeous chart. You get the 50 up here as it relates to the daily. Coming back down into 1761 is likely where it digests. We still have a descending 200-day that's probably going to make that extremely choppy right here. Yeah, I think 1825 is going to be tough. 17, here you go. Your intraday channel is right here, 14 and a half to 1864. Did I say 14? 16 and a half to 1864. 1761 is your daily pivot. Anyway, Yext is one that was more AI a while ago. And this is definitely still, I know we probably got all quiet about this, but remember I mentioned a stunningly gorgeous bottom fishing play, sideways, higher, sideways, higher, pulled back to support, broke out higher, came back down, beautiful scoop pattern, and up and away. So Yext is the bottom fishing extravaganza play, up 30.5%. If anyone is still holding that, congratulations. Congratulations. It's really a gorgeous scoop pattern. Just took a while and an earnings beat. And keep it above 1135, but it's gorgeous. Congratulations. Yep. Okay, let's see. That was this doesn't have so much drama behind it. So I would say 1313 is likely next. Pelletier got that early and often. This is still beautiful, heading up to that 17. I still see right now 1641. Let's see if it pauses for a little digestion there intraday, but otherwise on the daily 17, that's looking pretty firm at that 2618 level. And let's see what we have here for monthly. So we got 20 as a monthly. Basically, as long as these come back inside like 1162, it's just golden. That's the pre-IPO high. And then it scoops back below. Once it gets above, it's good. 1486, just gorgeous. It's still working in this channel. I'm on a monthly when I do this, but I'm getting asked, okay, what's the next price target? So I'm saying that this is still in play. As we've talked about, it has had a lot of volume, a lot of options, but mostly a gorgeous, stunningly gorgeous chart that was completely oversold off sides. And then they started coming in for it. Literally, beautifully, stunningly here on earnings. You can't even see it anymore. It looked like such a big gap up, right? I mean, it literally closed at 774 and opened at 920. Now think about that. A lot of people are going, oh, I missed it. I'll wait for it to pull back. The volume that came into that puppy that day, we've gone over this one every single day, was humongous. So this has just continued to be a beautiful 45-degree angle. Trade for a swing. There's nothing wrong with this. Intraday, 1640 area, but it's still going to tag that 17. And then after that, we've got some, higher level, 17 and a half. ZS is still doing just fine. Crowd is hanging out. It's just fine. AFRM is absolutely digesting as expected. That is just, look at the, it doesn't mean it's not going to go over it in time. It just means that there are sellers there. Unity did a great job. It literally yesterday, it pulled back perfectly and it held perfectly. Look at this low. The low was 3460. So I said this 3450 area should hold. What the heck? There's no data. Tuesday, Wednesday. Ugh, don't understand it. Anyway, Unity is fine. So getting above 3680. Roku just exploded higher. These are the junior tech plays. You can really just grab any at this point, really. Even SVIX, SVIX, whatever, Stitch Fix is coming up from the dead. That's how this works. Even Wayfair, which is obviously still Carvana, Wayfair, there's still bankruptcy risks. They're going to be shorted at some point in the future, but we have a melt up of oversold junk and value. Airbnb is still doing fine. This GitLab is right up to the trend line. That was exactly yesterday. Remember, this was such a strong beat, went right up into resistance at 45.55, said it would not surprise me if this goes and tags that trend line. It is sitting very nicely and it needs to stay above 42. But look at how it closed above the 200. That's bullish. So it's right here. It's really close. Really close. Twilio is also, remember, it tagged and it came back in. It's digesting. This looks fabulous for continuation. Path, you know how I feel about that. I like that one as a swing as well. Just checking on Archna's team. We had Docu also pushing up into earnings after market today. There should be a lot of shorts in this one. Yeah, this one's getting chased. It's so funny. 2.9 million shares coming out of a squeeze. Boom, boom. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 million shares is definitely getting chased. All right, so this needs to stay above 463. And it needs to stay above 463. It is a beautiful gap up, though. Why do I say that? Because look at this puppy. That's important. The low is 413, but it's above the 200. As long as it closes above the 200, it can continue higher. I mean, we just saw that. I just showed that exact thing with what? GitLab? Oops. All right. Beautiful open. Closed on the highs. Closed above the 200 and continues. Just saying. That's SVIX. And it has shorts. Doing okay. Be careful on net. I just got this was one that actually got above and it has stayed, but it needs to stay. And it looks a little bit weak here if you're still in it. Arista is another one that kind of, it got exploded and came back in. Pelletier is just beautiful squeeze. Again, 17 coming into play. Roku, extravaganza. Again, bottom fishing, whoever had that bottom fishing play, like back here, good job. I really needed to see junior tech pick up, which it has, but also this trend line to pick up, which it has. So this has been a very nice continuation, but now it's getting freaky. So that's what happens. Okay, 66.86, just to answer that question first and foremost. Yeah, so let's make sure it kind of stays above that, but it wouldn't surprise if it kind of bobs around there. All right, Unity's doing fine. It to me is, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It hit price target, it came down, it got supported, and now it's moving back up. Ta-da. So there's just no lack of energy in this space. So Roku. Oh, Bill. Yes. And then I have no issues with this with this melt up until it hits a trend line. Then at trend line, it typically digests. That's all. It doesn't mean it stops being bullish. So this one was recommended. Again, each day I'm picking a new one because it is just kind of a backdrop of bullish and junior tech and a great chart pattern. Those three things. So we have the market current. We're swimming with the market current. Number two, we're in the right sector rotation. There's no question about that. I mean, literally, if you're positioned for a firm, ta-da, gorgeous. Roku, gorgeous. Like they're not slowing down. UPST, MDB. I mean, there's no lack of junior tech coming up off the bottom. So what's next is what I'm looking for always. Tesla was early. Tesla was actually one of the first ones to start kind of behaving, and then it took off. It's been digesting the past month. Kind of frustrating, I know, but it's doing it. It's working through. Now that's a lot of congestion. In other words, resistance. And it has processed it. It took 4 weeks while others ran, and now it's going. 64.44 is your next push above. Wolf is a semi-play coming up off the bottom. Needs to get about 53. Twilio, hit it. It's not there yet, but Twilio and Google Cloud expand an AI partnership. I like Google, sorry, not Google. I like Twilio pushing through this trend line, and this is probably the news that's going to help do it. But I think what is taking precedence is the chasing that's going on in this type of stuff. So they're like, we can go back to the revolutionary, gene editing plays of CRISPR and eat it. Right now, let's just focus on what's moving. And right now, what's moving is small caps and junior tech. No question about it. Yeah, 17 Palantir just hit. Wouldn't be surprised if it overshoots to 17 and a half. This is an oversold junior tech. Looks a little bullish. Path looks perfectly fine to me. Like it's just starting. Right here, 1812, pushing up to like 21. It's got that was a huge, bear trap on the 200, held by its fingernails. Look at it. You can see holding on to the edge of the cliff. Did a great job. It is still bullish. Bill was last week early, right here on this particular candle, or was it this candle? Right. And then it was Airbnb, like this pushing up. I'm like, that looks really good into that resistance. Yeah. So every day it's a new one. And then Path is new to kind of move higher. It looks great. Roku does not care about anything either. Way bullish positioning here in the what do you call it? Squeeze off of 63. So we literally went 63, quiet. There's your squeeze. Still in a squeeze. It is still in a squeeze, which means likely 71.84, 71.30 time frame. I should have looked. Where did this start to break higher? Right. Hold on. Here. Literally, that was when it started getting a volume. In other words, remember how I mentioned they come in and they get seen, and then the option flow follows after that and kind of makes the market move. So they started accumulating it right here. As soon as they saw that, almost as if they saw that trend line about ready to be taken out. And then, of course, this kind of inverse head and shoulder look. This left shoulder, this head, this right shoulder. It's a sloppy one, but it still works. My God, they came right in on this bar, biggest size. So they come in, they start to accumulate, then the option market starts to look pretty bullish, and then they really hammer it with size, and this is the result. It starts getting chased. I see this over and over and over and over again. It's actually, there are so many plays that were bullish. I couldn't possibly name them all because they were so concentrated in positioning for value, which I already saw that Thursday morning. It's like, oh my God, they're absolutely coming in here. Small caps had lots and lots and lots of positioning. I mean, Russell, IWM, and it just needed a follow through. And then they hammer it with options, and then the market just explodes. Anyway, this morning we got literally Roku not stopping. It is still in a squeeze. Palantir is right up to that 1704. Let me see if it's also in a squeeze. Ooh, that's way extended. Hold on. Yeah, no, 34 million right here. And we've got this candle, 36 million. So they really might be capitulation buying coming in, but guess what? It's not done. It's squeeze. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope. Fascinating. All right. So yes, it is ridiculously extended. No, it is not done. It's squeeze. I would not be surprised if it tags 1746 and then pauses a little bit. Let me just see something. This high to low, 1719 is measured move. We hit 1716. All right, so that's it's kind of a swag, but it works really well. This expansion bar followed by a doji, it's called a doji sandwich. It equals this expansion bar. So you take the high to low from this bar, and obviously this closed in a doji. Then you take the open of this bar and add this duration, which is basically 2.8. And then you get what I just told you, 17.19, and it hit 17.16 and looks like it's now ready. All right, so the extravaganza that happened this morning was AFRM digesting above that 1825 or 1864 intraday. Palantir, Roku. Palantir tapped that 1704 perfectly. Measured move was actually 19, and it hit 1716, close enough. SVIX was absolutely getting chased this morning. Now they have a little profit taking, but it's still very, very bullish. So basically it tagged 463, got above this trend line because it was in a squeeze. It's having a little profit taking right now, but it's still obviously one of those kind of junior plays that has been very oversold, trying to make a run for it. Roku, no rest for the weary. This thing is pushing into 71.30. And I mentioned already, it is in a squeeze, and the squeeze has not ended. Literally. They're still bidding this up. I don't think the squeeze is going to end until it hits 71.30 or close to it. Now, I don't know if Roku is going to do that, but it has a similar kind of, it's been forgotten, completely forgotten, and now it's trying to get up above this move, this 10. In this case, it's a monthly. 75.70 would ignite this thing. It's still in a downtrend, big picture, but there's nothing here that looks bearish. So I wonder if they're going to start getting a little bit more active in this one. All right, so we have, yeah, that was a really, really stunning one from before. So I had AI and Yext a while ago, and this one is just really the one that just took off in excitement. You never can tell with earnings. Yeah, this one is, I said 13.13, but this was recommended a long time ago. So this was one of those that had already bottom fishing plays long. Also had the AI, and then of course in April, AI took center stage. Yext kind of pulled back, but it did a nice shallow pullback before this explosion. All right, so besides the swing trade of Yext that was recommended like literally a while ago, this SFIX is just today's kind of chase du jour. It's definitely still in bullish mode, but with some distribution right now. 3.8 million just hit the tape, so they're softening this a little bit. On that Roku, it tapped perfectly. Bollinger Band came right back in. 68.35, 68.11. Resistance level 3 for intraday is basically 68. Palantir, what did it tap? 1704. What was measured move? 1719. What did it actually tap before it softened? 1716. It's not a game of perfect, but that's pretty dang close. Okay, Arsena says CALX is now moving. Yes, it is. Not much in options, but they're trying. This is that Morningstar reversal. It was an early spotter of Archena's with ZI. And that one took off like crazy above. That was absolutely the trigger, 21.28, and then it has just done a great job. Ping, you're it, comes back down, stabilizes, breaks out. So this is on its way to that trend line. So it just needs to stay above 26.36. Very nice. Pull back, it really the 55-day, and it's slowly but surely making it up to that trend line, right? Team. Beautiful Morningstar reversal, push higher above the trend line, actually digested extremely well and went right up and through the 200. Now it's kind of digesting this level. So Team, ZI, and now CALX. ZS is still doing well on that trend, but it's definitely digesting. That's 5 weeks or 5 bars of solid green. It's due for a pause. Oh, Square. Sorry, completely. Yes. So this is Artena likes this one for continuation. It did hit the 200. It is a junior tech, so it's getting squashed a little bit. But there's that trend line. It tagged. We just need another little push higher. They're definitely accumulating since see, this morning we had 1.5 million. That's okay. Oh, this is a recent one. You're right. They literally just started accumulating here. This one. So they're late to come into this one. Nice. Just started getting into square, whoever, I mean, size of volume is coming in. Just don't know with this now pullback that we're having, right? That's going to be tough. In other words, this continues to get a little bit more red. As this continues to get red, SPX gets a little bit more red. As SPX breaks 42.75 and the Qs come in, which they are trying anyway, Bang comes in. It's going to be hard for Square to get moving. I would say this is coming back down before it goes up. So yes, Netflix, okay. Pause, you're it. IPI and others, still green on the screen. But we do have Junior Tech that's also looking great. This CALX and maybe Square. I don't like that one. 53.50 would be price target on CALX. Really nice one that is bucking the trend right now this morning with the softness after extended runs. It is basically playing catch up. 53.50, 53.50, they're all about the same price target here, but looks good. And then we'll see if Square starts getting supported once it gets above this trend line. And then ON, it's doing great. Look at the, it's doing okay. So it can have some really big shake and bake, no question. It's been beautiful. It needs to hold above that 89.84 to kind of digest and move higher. 87.5 is right here, right thereabouts. It's a decent wedge. It's very, very nice above this area of, 88. So it hasn't done anything wrong yet, honestly.